UFC 291 in Salt Lake City, Utah. Got an amazing main card, and sometimes I don't talk through the whole main card, but I'm gonna do it because I know every single fighter here. I've been really a massive UFC fan for the past, it's been a minute now, so I know a lot of the guys now. I watch every single weekend, whether there is a fight, free fights, and obviously main cards. So it's awesome. This is the second main card of the month of August. I mean July. Jeez, don't wish away July yet, Nathan. So I'm just excited. The BMF belt is up between Justin Gaethje and Dustin Poirier. Obviously, I'll get into that one last. We're going to start at the bottom of the bill here when it comes to the main card. We got Michael Chiesa versus Kevin Holland. Another guy that both of those guys, if you're a MMA fan, UFC fan, you know both of them. And both of them are hard not to like. Both are truly finishers, that's for sure. They really like to go out there and find their ways to win in their own ways. Michael is definitely a submission specialist, and Kevin Holland, the hands are so fast. He tried to go out there and box and kickbox against Wonder Boy, which is another guy on the bill too. So if you're going out there to do that, you got a lot of confidence in your hands and kicks and stuff. So I praise a guy like that. But the underrated thing with Kevin Holland is that guy's a legit jiu-jitsu guy. I mean, he could definitely submit a lot of guys. And, yeah, is he going to submit Michael? I don't know about that. But I think we'll see some surprises when it comes to that fight. If this fight somehow gets to the ground, if Michael is able to get this thing to the ground, I think he's going to be a little shocked how good Kevin is on the ground. I think that's going to be a little bit of a shocker for him. And I don't even know if it ever gets to the right ground or nothing. So, for me, I'm going to get this one over with. I think Kevin Holland gets an early finish in this one. I think the hands and kicks and hand speed and defense is going to be a little too good for Michael early. And I think he catches him with, one of those hooks of his, man. Might be something crazy, but I think he keeps it tight. I think he keeps it smooth. I think he gets out there he just finishes this thing off. And he wants to start this card with a bang. You know how Kevin Holland is. Kevin Holland is a performer, man. Above all, I know he's going out there to try and win, but that dude is a guy that is trying to excite fans. So I got this one round 1 KO for Kevin Holland. Let's go to the next fight in this main card. Man, this one's hitting heartstrings. I've got two guys that I like, but one guy I like a lot more. Not a lot more, but I like more. And for me, these odds are, let's see. I wanted to pull them up again. Let's see. Yeah, these odds are insane to me. Craziness, I find. Bobby Green versus Tony Ferguson. Bobby Green is a minus 400 favorite. And I know Bobby Green's a hell of a striker, y'all. I know that. But, man, we are really starting to ride off Tony. I know he's on a losing streak. It's a pretty bad one in his last two fights. Obviously the nasty front kick KO against Michael Chandler and getting submitted by Nate Diaz in their last matchup. But that was in September, man. That's a long time ago. I'm starting to feel a different version in this thing. I think we're going to see a motivated El Kikuy, man. I think this is going to be I think Tony is at the point where he's accepted what has happened to him. This fall off it's real. You don't want to act like it's not real. So I think he's to the point where let's just get a win. Let's not look at what this win could get me. Let's get a win. Let's just get back on track. I think this is a decent style matchup for him too. I know Bobby Green is a heck of a striker, and he's not going to be looking to take this to the ground at all. Where Tony can find some nasty submissions of his, but I think we're going to see something. I know what we saw against Nate was not the most promising, but he didn't look bad on the feet. He didn't look bad, and then obviously Nate submits him and stuff late in that fight, but. For me, when you look at it, it's stylistically, Bobby is a dog, and he's gonna try and find your chin. He's gonna touch you, and look for a shot. But if you're looking at these odds, just don't let them sway you. That's all I'll say when it comes to this fight. I'm not going to overspeak when it comes to it. I think this is a good matchup for Tony. Looking at it, Bobby Green is plus 125 via points. For Tony Ferguson is plus 600 on points. And Tony, his odds are so bad. It's crazy. I'm a little shocked by that. KO finish, Bobby Green's plus 195, so that's pretty high. They really think this one's going to be done in the first round, too. Bobby Green is plus 380 to win in the first round. Man, I don't believe these numbers, man. I think right now, in my opinion, we'll be seeing a different, motivated, in a different way. I think he's motivated in a different way. It's not like a championship motivation. I think this is a, respect, legacy motivation for Tony to come out here and just kind of, because he looked good against Michael Chandler, before he got his face kicked off, he looked good against Michael Chandler in that first round. I rewatched that fight. Tony won. I mean, everyone knows I watched. He won that first round, and dropping Chandler. So, I mean, Tony's got bricks in his hands. So, in my opinion, how I see this fight going, I got Tony winning this one and getting back in that win column. If I'm a betting man, I'd probably lean decision, even though those odds are horrendous, which also might motivate you to do that. I'm seeing something, Bobby might overswing on a shot. I'm thinking maybe Tony hits him with one of those razor elbows, just, one of those elbows, maybe drops him to the ground, and I think Tony might get to the ground and find his way to maybe a Darce choke or an arm bar or maybe even a rear naked choke. I think he gets off one of his submissions for a victory here, and we see a victory, a win in the column for Tony Ferguson out here on the 29th. So I'm excited. I think Tony Ferguson gets the job done against Bobby Green. Let's get to the next fight of the bill. This one is an amazing matchup, man. And you got two of the craziest strikers in the division. Everyone knows how amazing Wonder Boy Thompson is. Stephen Thompson is. The karate background is an unbelievable striker. And then Michel Pereira, he is an incredibly dangerous, I'd say, fighter. I mean, that dude he leaves caution to the wind, So for me, it's just such an underrated fight. I think it's a fight that's not even being built up enough, and that's not probably on the fighters. But Wonder Boy is one of my favorite fighters, and he is still elite at 40 years old. And it's a hell of a matchup, like I said, due to their similarities. I would say, like I said, Pereira is just a more dangerous version of Wonder Boy. He's got those kicks. He's got the punches. He's got the kicks, but it's a lot more wild, I remember when he did I think he did like a front flip kick into the stomach, which I think is technically illegal, and they didn't call it illegal. But I remember seeing that in a fight one time with Pereira. So it's a fun matchup. But when it comes to it in the ring, I think the biggest thing that we'll see, being in Utah, Salt Lake City, elevation, I think fatigue is going to get to these guys as they are both strikers. I mean, both of these guys have had problems with fatigue in the past, and specifically Pereira. I mean, that guy, I've seen that guy gas even after the first round, not even making it out of the first round, and gas out. So, and that's mainly due to his ridiculous attacks. It's due to him overswinging, just too many strikes, too many big strikes, too many wild attacks. So I think if he can hamper that down, he gives himself a lot better of a chance to win. But I think Wonder Boy's technique, I think he's going to be more measured. I think he just takes his time to take apart Pierre in this one, man. I think slowly but surely we'll win the race here for Wonder Boy. Just tap, 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 find his way, and look for one of those shots when Pierre is overswinging. I think we see a decision here once again for Wonder Boy, but I would not be surprised if you see, maybe Pierre hurts Wonder Boy early with one of his wild attacks, and we see one of those Thompson counters that he has shown before that could just end the fight immediately. One counter could finish this one. So I think we go to a decision win for Wonder Boy, but don't be surprised if Wonder Boy hits him with one of those counters for a win here. So I got Wonder Boy taking the cake in that fight. Let's get into the co-main event of the evening. This one's insane. Jan Blachowicz versus Alex Pereira. Oh, man. This one is so damn hard to call, y'all. Alex Pereira is making his debut at the light heavyweight division. Everyone talking about how massive he was for middleweight, and you saw it against Izzy, even though Izzy put him out, and you can make the case that weight cut led to him being knocked out like that. Cutting 40 pounds. He literally weighs 125 pounds normally. I want y'all to understand the middleweight division is 185 pounds. That's a lot of weight to be cutting for a fight. And, you cut the weight and then you just put it all back on the next day. That you're dehydrating your body. It's so bad for your body. I think making this move up to light heavyweight will help a lot of things, specifically the chin for Pereira. And there's definitely a case that there's some things to look at when it comes to the jump up, because the biggest thing is, he's technically is a light heavyweight, but he's not really fought there. So he has not felt that strength. He hasn't felt that power of the light heavyweights. We saw what happened to Izzy, but Izzy didn't put on the weight. Izzy, when he fought Jan for the light heavyweight belt, I think he only weighed 195 for that fight. So he didn't even go up to the full 205 limit for the light heavyweight that championship against Jan. So, and then you saw how dominant Jan was on the ground. Jan was special once that thing got to he wasn't even, all he had to do was just hold him because he was just so much stronger with all that size. So, and I've been watching Pierre over this past week on, the embedded and stuff, and the biggest thing he talked about was strength. It's not about size, it's about strength. You gotta know how to use that strength in other ways. And these two guys are known for their power when it comes to punching. But if this thing becomes a kickboxing match, it's hard not to take Alex. I love Jan, and Jan is a tank. He's got some nasty leg kicks. He will kick on your bone. He doesn't care, dude. He will kick on a checked leg and just walk right through it. That dude is he's made of titanium. It feels like that Polish power. Power. It's no joke. That Polish power is no joke. He's put a lot of people out with it. It's an amazing matchup, but I really do think that the grappling is going to be the ultimate decider in this fight. We saw what Izzy did in their first MMA matchup for the belt when Alex won by TKO, but we saw what Izzy was able to do to him on the ground. Alex looked like he didn't know what to do, and that was a long time ago. I'll give you that. It's been over a year and stuff, so Alex has definitely learned and improved on the ground, and obviously he has one of the greatest minds when it comes to groundwork, a guy that beat Jan in Glover Teixeira. So when you got a guy like that, it helps a lot. You can learn so much from a guy in such a little time. And I'm not out here saying that he's going to go out there and out-grapple Jan, or he's going to submit him or anything. But, I just want people to understand that Jan is a great grappler. And, Glover choked him out, but that's an underrated skill set of his. He's used it multiple times to win fights. And when you get a fighter like Alex that is just so technical on the feet, he is so good. You obviously, you can make the case that Alex was winning the second fight against Izzy before Izzy put his lights out. He was hurting the leg again. He was getting some nice shots off to the body. He didn't really clip Izzy in that second fight, but that's how Pereira fights, man. He will break you down and he'll find that left hook, man. He is just he's such an amazing striker, technicality wise. And I know how he got knocked out was his technique going out the window. So I do want to see what would happen if he hurts Jan. Is he going to leave all caution to the wind again? Is he going to allow himself to get baited again like Izzy baited him? I don't know. I think that's something you learn from if you're Pereira. So when it comes down to it, I think the grappling will definitely be the ultimate decider in this fight. Who will be the better, not even the better grappler, who will win the grappling exchanges? Does Pierre have takedown defense? If he's taken to the canvas, can he get up? Can he get this thing back to the feet? Can he fight submissions? Those are those things like we just haven't seen. We haven't got to see from Pierre, and Jan has the ability to kind of put those things into fruition. So at the end of the day, though, if this thing stays on the feet, it's power versus power. Either guy can win. If it's on the feet, I'm taking Alex all day because it's hard not to take a two-time kickboxing. There's Mamba again. It's too hard not to take a two-time kickboxing champion. But for me, I think Jan's grappling will be the ultimate decider, like I said, and he will get this thing by decision. And I know that one is hard for me. Like I don't ever want to pick against Alex because Alex is one of those guys is like it's almost impossible to pick against. This guy comes in the MMA and just dominates. I think he got the title fight in 5 fights. He got the fast track. Obviously, the history between him and Izzy kind of allowed that to happen. But, that dude, he is so talented. And it's hard not to pick against him. If it's a kickboxing match, I'm going Alex. If it's an MMA match like I think it will be, because this is MMA, I got Jan via decision. Let's see what happens, man. Gosh, it's such an amazing fight. I cannot freaking wait for that one. But let's get into it. The last, but certainly not least, the BMF belt is on the line. The main event of the evening. Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje. Man, oh man. Oh man, this is such a good fight, y'all. These are two of my favorite fighters in the entire UFC, and these are two of the baddest. I don't want to say the word, but they are the two baddest dudes on the UFC roster right now. I would say you don't get better than these two guys when it comes to just wars. These guys live for wars, and they have fought in them, plenty of them, and understand what it takes to finish them and get through them. So let's get into it, though. Obviously they fought in 2018, and when Dustin found his way to victory in that one. And it was a wild fight, man. It was what everyone thought it would be. Justin Gaethje kind of threw caution to the wind, and Dustin was a lot more measured. The biggest thing for this one, I think, now is I think it's going to be a much more measured fight. I think a lot of people believe that it will be, especially early on. We've seen since that fight how much Justin has improved in his technical fighting sense. He's not like I was watching it, and after that fight, he didn't want to be the most entertaining fighter anymore. He wanted to be a champion, and he's had opportunities at championship status, and he failed at them. Dustin as well. That's why this makes this fight so great. Still, in 2020 they were in the top 5. They're still in the top 5 in the lightweight division. The only 2 left since then. So, it's such an awesome matchup to see between these two guys. So, when it comes down to it, I think, both of them have improved so much. Justin has gotten so technical since that fight, but once again, if he's going to try and outbox Dustin, hands alone, I think we see a masterclass from Poirier because, man, that dude's boxing is the best, I think, in the UFC. I do believe if Justin has a route to victories, he's got to make this messy, but not in the sense how he's made it messy in the past. He needs to make this messy. He needs to get that tie clinch, man. He needs to get these knees into the body like Charles Oliveira had so much success against Dustin Poirier with. Get those uppercuts in the tie clinch. Go find those dirty boxing, man. Elbows, dirty boxing, man. Get in tight. Just rip the body. Find ways to make this thing dirty. Don't let Dustin just be able to poke you from the outside. And I understand that Justin, one of his best moves is the leg kick. He's the best at doing it, and he's got to use that too. He's got to get rid of that power of Poirier, and that's the best way to do it is get rid of the lead leg of a boxer. That takes away a lot of the power, man. So I do think he has to lean into those leg kicks like he did in the first fight. He just needs to use them even more. I don't know more. Just use them again. Got to take away that power somehow from Dustin. I don't think you're gonna gas Dustin, even though Justin trains at Elevation in Colorado and Dustin trains in Florida. That elevation might be a problem, but I just don't see Dustin. I don't think that's gonna be a problem for Dustin. He's such a dog, man. I doubt that fatigue will be a thing. And I mean, fatigue's always it will happen when you get these 5-round fights. You'll definitely see guys dwindle as the fight goes on, but I don't think either one of these guys is gonna be just huffing and puffing, and the reason they lose is because they ran out of gas in their tank. So I think you got to take the wind out of Dustin's sails, and the best way for Justin to do that is by leg kicks, getting in tight, finding some uppercuts like that uppercut he against some Michael Chandler, and finding those hooks. Those hooks of Justin are so nasty, man. They are power shots. And so I think if Justin stays technical, and mixes in the dirty boxing, just mixes it in, is selective. We saw against Dustin, the success, we see with the tie clinch, those knees to the body work of Charles Oliveira, Chandler with his blitzes, that really got Dustin in some big time trouble in that first round when they fought. So I think selective messiness, if Justin stays technical with that selective messiness, get some explosions in there, try and see if you get some explosions like Chandler had on Dustin, and get in tight like Charles did, and find some uppercuts, find some knees, find some elbows. If you can find that, I do think Justin Gaethje could get a finish in this fight. But that is the only way I think Justin could find a way to finish this fight. I truly think after everything Dustin's been through, he has learned the most out of all of this. He's still the guy that's just put up the better fights against the fighters that Justin's fought too. I mean, he fought, 3 rounds against Charles. I'm pretty sure about that one. And, Justin got choked out in the first round. Both of them got choked out by rear naked choke, So it's one of those things for me, Chandler, Dustin finished Chandler. Justin went the distance with Chandler. So, some of these fights that they've had since then is you see Dustin's the finisher, man. Justin, even though that dude is a freaking highlight reel and can finish anyone. I don't want to act like that dude doesn't know how to finish anyone. He's finished a lot of people, more than normal, But I think if this is going to come down to a finish, I just think I think he gets the job done. What he's learned in his boxing and his Dustin's motivation is so infectious too. I love why he fights, man. He admits, I don't have to do this anymore. I mean, imagine after a McGregor payday, fighting him twice, you don't have to fight ever again, I imagine. So, for me, it's just Dustin, all the fights that he's had against such technical fighters, and I think that's going to push him. I think that's going to push him a little ahead of Justin once again. I think he's just the better fighter when it comes to technical status and stuff. So I got Dustin, and I think he gets it done earlier than he did in the first fight. I think he gets this one done in the 3rd round, man. TKO finish. And, like I said, it's just styles make fights, and this is an amazing style. And once again, you could not have 2 better dudes facing off in the BMF for the BMF belt, y'all. You could not have 2 better dudes facing off for the BMF belt. And I'm just so happy I get to watch this thing live on the 29th.